Hey kids, this is Nancy May, the Handy Scandy, and I welcome you back for another crafty venture. Today I am hopping along with Team Tiny, and we are featuring the 7 Kids Craft Store Bubble Babies digital download. So there's a little bit of kind of an example, a bit of a teaser on some of the things that this set provides. And with digitals, you can manipulate them, you can change the sizes, you can mix and match, you can create a scene, all of that, because they're so very versatile and fun. So I encourage y'all to check them out. If you've not used a digi, this would be a great time to start. So here I chose to use the Mama Mermaid, and these are the Arteza Everblend markers that I used to color her up. And I also used the sweet little turtle, and these are the Everblends that I used to color him up. And I'm actually making 2 cards for you today. So I chose the little seahorse there as well. And actually he's quite a large seahorse. And I showed you the markers that I used for her as well. I'm calling her a her. So here I'm taking one of the darker Arteza Everblends and just going over the edge of my images, because I fussy cut them out, and I'm not a great fussy cutter, and doing this just helps to clean up those edges and make it look a little bit nicer. So I do that on all 3 images, and here I'm just showing you a little bit of it. It's really a fast process, and they look so much cleaner and more finished. And I'm using some Arteza watercolor paper, and I'm going to create a big kind of serene, watery background. And it's a big sheet of paper, I want to say. Let me pull it out. 9 by 12. So it's a big sheet, and it actually creates several backgrounds. But again, like I've said before, I'm no watercolor expert. This is just my process. So I take this old paintbrush, have no idea where I got it or how long I've had it, but I just use it to wet my whole paper. And then I get cat hair everywhere. You noticed in my last few videos that this is an ongoing battle. All right, so while I paint this, I want to tell you about 7 Kids Craft Store. So y'all, if you're like me and you like to support small, this is one of the businesses that I encourage you to support. They have so many different brands. Obviously, they have items that are unique to them, similar to this download, but they have, oh my goodness, I'm trying to get to the website while I'm talking to you, because I want to make sure I give you right information. They have some of our favorite brands like Catherine Pooler Designs, Lavinia Stamps. And y'all, if you've not checked out Lavinia Stamps and you like a kind of mystical, magical kind of scene, kind of vibe, check out Lavinia Stamps for sure. They have Ranger Ink, Stamping Bella, Metform Castings, Tonic Studios, Prima Marketing, Scrap Effects, Doodlebugs, Mama Elephant, on and on and on. And from stamps to all of the accessories that we need, the supplies that we need, I just encourage you, go check her out. And right now, during this hop until July 19th, she's offering a 20% code to all hoppers who are watching and hopping along with us. And that will be down in my description box, as well as the links. So I'll have the link to their Facebook group as well as to their page, so you can go shop. And Kelly, the owner, is also offering free shipping on orders over $60, and she offers a rewards program. I mean, guys, come on. This is a great place. You don't want to miss this. So I will have all of this stuff linked down below, per usual, so you can find everything. And remember, this is a hashtag driven hop. I don't think I've said that yet, which means that you use the hashtag Team Tiny Under the Sea, and that will pull up all of the hoppers, all of the creators that are participating in this particular project. And you can just hop from one to one to one, or one to the next, to the next, to the next. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of amazing artists on this hop, and you'll see exactly how versatile these stamps are, because there's just so much that you can do. Your imagination is the only limits on this, because you can size them. They're not like a traditional stamp, which, don't get me wrong, I love traditional stamps. Red rubber, acrylic, photopolymer, all of that. But with those, you get what you get. You can't resize them unless you copy it and then you play with it that way. Well, these already come in that format. So you save it, at least for me, this is the way I do it. I save it to a Word document, and then I can manipulate and print it out on my cardstock, and then I've got, all kinds of wonderful things. You can use, if you're a crafter with like a Cricut or a Scan and Cut or something like that, you can, I can't remember the name of the file. But anyway, you can save them into that kind of file, and you can print them out huge. You can make wall decals with them. You can make t-shirts, pillows, framed art. I mean, you name it. You can use these in so many different ways. So again, if you've not used a digital download stamp, I encourage you, this is the time to try them out. So going back to the card, I am using my Brutus Monroe metallic aqua pigments. Y'all know how I love my Brutus Monroe metallic aqua pigments. And I have just made different layers. You know, I've gone from light to dark. I dried it. I went back over it again just to intensify the color. And keep in mind that as these dry, that color dries back. So right now you see that nice ombre. But as they dry even more, that color gradient kind of fades away a little bit, and it's not quite as dramatic. Now, I could have gone back in and added more layers and kept that drama, but I decided for what I was doing that this was good. I just wanted to be sure that I had the splatter. So I used the various colors of blue that I had painted my background in, again, to keep that color continuity going. And then I also pulled in some white and some pearl aqua pigments because I just wanted a little more depth and color, and I also just used some clean water as well. So it gives you a variety of colors, a variety of textures, because the water splats a little bit different than the paint does. And again, it just adds some texture and some movement and some depth and dimension to your paper, to your background. So a lot of people don't necessarily like splatter. It depends on my project. Sometimes I like splatter, sometimes I don't. But I wanted to make sure that I had this dry before I pull my tape off. So here you can see that I'm pulling it all off. It's just regular old masking tape. And I love it. This kind of reveal is one of my favorite things. And I wish I didn't have to cut those rough edges off because I really like that frame. But here I'm showing you all the glimmer and the shimmer and the shine to those aqua pigments. Isn't that incredible? Oh my gosh, again, if you've not used the aqua pigments, this might be your time. So I pull over my guillotine trimmer and I'm trimming down all those, the rough edges, the frame per se. And here I'm cutting my big sheet of paper, the 9x12, down to card panels. And then I remember, oh, well, my seahorse is kind of large. So I need to make sure that I cut a background that's big enough to support her. So I'm measuring everything out, making sure that I've got it right. I keep going back, do I want landscape or do I want portrait? So I get it figured out and I cut it down, and this actually ends up being a 5x7 card. And also, I don't know if I told you this or not, but I'm making 2 cards for you today because I just had everything that I needed. So I thought, well, I'm just going to do a 2-for-1 situation, but a different kind of 2-for-1. So right there, I was trying to figure out if I wanted the lighter part of the paper for the background for the Mama Mermaid and the turtle, or the darker. And I went with the lighter because they're kind of colored dark, so I wanted that contrast. So here I am just going through my notebook where I keep all my stencils, and I pull out my, I believe that's a Hefty Doodle watercolor background or stencil. And I have no idea where I got that sunburst stencil from. I'll try to link it down below, but I don't know if I know where it was or where it came from. So I'm just trying to figure out, which orientation it needs to go on my paper there. And all I'm doing is watering down these aqua pigments a little bit, and I'm going in the what am I trying to say? The same direction as the waves, because I don't want the paint to leak up under the stencil. There's going to be a little bit of bleeding, and that's okay. I just don't want there to be a lot. So I go in the same direction as the stencil is, and I'm just putting down a little bit of paint. I just want it to be a real subtle shimmery effect, and you can see right there that it worked. And I'm not really paying attention or giving much thought to which color of the paints I use. I just want the effect. And with water, it's shimmery, it's moving, it's never constant. It's not a solid thing. Obviously, it's water, right? So there's movement and it's different, but there's subtle differences. And so that's exactly what I'm trying to capture here. and I feel like I got it. It's very, very subtle, and in the finished products, it's kind of hard to see in the pictures, but at the end, I'll show you lots of different pictures. I have several pictures of each card, and I've taken them at different angles, so the light is hitting it differently. I want you to be able to see that effect. It's super cool. And here in a minute, I'm going to bring in the sunburst stencil coming from, I think I put it at the top right on both of them. And if you've ever seen an underwater picture, you know that when the light, whether it's sunlight or some kind of artificial light, it's super bright at the top of the water, and then it kind of diffuses as the water gets deeper and deeper. That's the look I tried to achieve. I mean, it is a cartoony card, so, you know, I wasn't super successful in getting a realistic look, but I think it suffices for my project here, for what I'm trying to do. So again, I'm just taking the paint, watering it down, going in the same direction as the sun rays, and just letting it kind of get gradually lighter and lighter towards the end. So it gives the overall effect, but again, it's not super realistic, which is fine. These aren't realistic cards. So yeah, again, I don't know how well the camera's picking it up here, but I do take several pictures at the end, and hopefully you can catch it there. So here I'm showing you that the bigger card is a 5x7. I'm showing you the size of my panels, which, you know, it's probably about 4 6/8 or something like that by about 6. So I don't put sentiments on these, though. I wanna clarify that I purposely didn't put sentiments on these because I'm not sure the purpose of these cards yet. So once I know who they're going to and what the occasion is, then I'll add stencils. I'll add sentiments to them later. But I'm using a little bit of that Walmart Fun Foam on the back of each panel just to give them some lift. And I lost some footage along the way. I have put some fun foam on the back of all of my images to give them lift on top of the panels as well. And I end up using some Stampin' Up, what is it called? It's like a mirror stock. And I cut out a frame. I used 2 rectangular stitched rectangular dies to create a frame for the little seahorse. And I used 2 heart dies. They have the stitch detail as well, and I create a frame for the mama mermaid and the turtle. And on both of them, I have the images overlapping the frame. I love it when it interrupts the borders of the frame like that. I've talked about that before when I do the stenciling. I really like that because it marries the different areas of the card. So right here, going back to the card real quick, I had to use 2 different pieces of paper to create this 5x7 card. Numbers are hard for me. I'm sure there was probably an easier way, but this is what worked in my brain. And because on the outside is where you can see those 2 pieces of paper overlap, I just used a piece of the scrap to kind of, again, I'll use the word marry those 2 pieces of paper together, so it covers up that the segment where they meet. And it also just looks, I mean, it's very subtle on the back of that panel with the seahorse, but it just looks like it's an added detail that was there on purpose. So yeah, I don't know what I was talking about. Oh, making my frames and having the images overlap. So when I've done my stenciling videos and I talk about how I'll put the image on the outside so that it's overlapping that border as well, so it's partly on the spotlight stenciled area and it's partly in the other area, where on some of them I've had some stenciling and some I haven't, but it marries the 2 areas of the card together. And that's essentially what I'm doing when I have the images overlap my frames as well. And here it's about to jump to the where I'm putting the fun foam on and the frames. I don't know what happened to the footage. You can see in the top left there where I've cut out the hearts, and I dry embossed the white paper with the same wave stencil, and then I cut it out, and you can see the heart frame there. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but yeah, I lost the footage for that. So here are some of the still shots for my pictures. I think they're super sweet, y'all. Let me know what you think down below. Again, we always say like, comment, subscribe. We are small channels. Each one of us has less than 1,000 viewers, and all of your comments, your subscriptions, all of that really helps us along. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Like, leave us a comment. That gets you registered. If there are any prizes, it gets you registered. And again, this is Nancy the Handy Scandy, and I'm hopping along with Team Tiny, and this is the hashtag Team Tiny under the sea hop. Thanks, y'all. Take care. Bye.